IPID head Victor Siane says the amendments will be made to the directorate's performance targets in an effort to boost the institution work on police conduct and accountability. Or Senna was briefing Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Policing after recommendations by African Police Civilian Oversight Forum, which published a policy paper in February. The recommendations were pushed by DA in Parliament to the Parliament's Portfolio Committee. Joining us now on the line is DA Deputy Shadow Minister of Police, Okkie Terblanche. Okkie, good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Thabo, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Following articles on Viewfinder, Okkie, this investigation was conducted by the African Policing Civilian Oversight Forum. What are the key findings? First, before we get to the findings, what was the focus of this particular investigation?
Thabo, it's a long-standing problem that we have, as a country, that IPID is a very important organization, and they are sort of battling to deal with the workload that they have. That is due to resources, a lack of resources, both human and physical. And, obviously we need IPID to perform to ensure that we have a professional and honest police service.
So generally poorly resourced relative to the workload, Okkie, that's what you're finding. And so they have in the past reported a 76% completion on the investigations that were conducted. This particular study has found that some of these investigations can be labeled as complete or ready, decision-ready status, or even special closure, yet full investigations have not been completed.
That's correct. That's correct, and that is really a cause of concern. Obviously we need to ensure that all the culprits, will be brought to book, and that is not, acceptable, and therefore this investigation. And with the shortage of resources that they have, it's a worldwide sort of acceptable practice that, you need to do some screening on the cases referred to IPID, and, they need to focus on the more serious cases first that will have the most, impact on the police, to ensure that they are, obviously also, as I said, law-abiding and complying with the laws of this country. So that is something that is also recommended in the, the research document that also served before, that was handed in also to the Portfolio Committee, and that is now also up for consideration, by IPID. They have a golden opportunity now to, they need to submit their new strategic or annual plan to the committee still, and that is something that they will have to work into their plan or strategy to ensure that the most urgent cases is going to get preference in the investigation within their limited resources.
Now, okay, what else I found in this report is that the NPA declined at least 70% of the cases that were sent to it from IPID. Is this purely out of the IPID's inability to investigate these cases, or is there something else at play, including other agencies, for example, those who conduct autopsies, those who conduct blood samples, and so on and so forth?
That is an issue that the committee also raised. We took note of the fact, that the percentage of cases that, let's call it successful cases, accepted and, prosecuted, by the prosecuting authority, it's rather low. And that was a question that the committee raised to IPID that they will have to look into. One of the things that they mentioned is that, some of the, let's call it, service providers that they're dependent on, like, for instance, the police, the forensic laboratories, and places like that, apparently cases are taking a while before they get a response. and get to the situation where they are able to submit these cases to, the prosecuting authority for consideration, whether they are going to prosecute or not.
Now, in terms of what needs to happen at this stage, now that the report has been tabled in Parliament and the recommendations, as you mentioned them, including proper screening of cases, but also clarity on some of the vague definitions, for example, referral and what is referred to NPA rather, and what is referred to the Hawks and so on and so forth. What is going to happen at this stage?
Thabo, as I said, the ball is back in IPID's court at the moment, and obviously remember, Parliament keeps the executive authority to account, meaning, the National Minister of Police. He was not in attendance on the day. He comes there very regularly, but he wasn't in attendance on last Wednesday. But the Deputy Minister was there. And the committee spelled out very clearly that this is something that they need to look into. And also that the minister or the deputy minister in this case, they must ensure that they engage the other role players and, work out some solution because obviously we cannot have a situation where people that committed, and police in this case, allegedly so, committed serious crimes and then, cases are not properly investigated in the first instance. And secondly, because of that and other reasons, they don't get ever to a situation where they can possibly, face the full might of the law.
Is this a thing that is going to require a change in policy, change in legislation, change in regulation, which is going to, I suppose, require members of Parliament then to play a role?
Look, Thabo, there are a range of things that must possibly, can be done. First of all, one of the reasons that Parliament thinks can maybe contribute to the situation that we have at the moment is the fact that for the end of this month, it will be a full year that we don't have a permanent head of IPID. And the legislation requires that the national minister must appoint, a new head of IPID within a period of 1 year. Now, apparently, the national minister is going to miss this time frame now, and the committee really took issue with that, and, at various previous occasions, we told the committee now in no uncertain terms that they must appoint a new IPID head. Yeah. And that hasn't happened yet.
They had narrowed it down to 2 candidates. Did you get a reason as to why none of those candidates could have been suitable for the job?
Well, we asked the minister, as I said, and he informed the committee that they advertised for this position twice. And in total, they got 48 applicants applying for the job. And they had an interview. They interviewed the people, and they couldn't find a suitable candidate. That's now according to the minister. They couldn't find a suitable candidate that they felt will be able to perform the job. Because remember, once the interviewing panel found a suitable candidate, they recommend that candidate to Parliament, for final approval. The committee, deal with that, and then it's obviously referred to the National Assembly that will, approve that. Now, as I said, they said that they couldn't find a suitable candidate, and they came with a suggestion that they will go on a headhunting exercise now.